once a day is the AI which books the finance for here. We tell the AI man come here roughly around 12 o'clock each morning. So if a cow is bulling at 3 o'clock this evening, she will be bulled at around 12 o'clock the next day. And if that cow is still bulling the following evening around 9 or 10 o'clock, she'll be brought in again and she'll be AI'd for the second time in that 24 hours. The way I look at it is, might not connect with the straw and that time in the first day, she will connect on the second day. So we're building up that 3 weeks of a calf being born earlier than if we had missed them.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef Podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by Teagasc technician on the Newford demonstration farm, Michael Fagan, to get an update on the farm, breeding season ahead and the breeding open day taking place on the farm. Michael, you're very welcome. Before we start, can you give an overview of the farm?
We're here in Atleague, in Skryne here in Atleague, County Roscommon. We're running on 2 blocks of farms. The home farm is on 74 hectares, and the outblock is on 21 hectares. So it's a farm that it's 250 feet above sea level, and it can be fairly wet at times. And the background of the farm itself then is we're running 100, just under 100 cow suckler herd here, where all calves are brought to finish. The farm itself is a one labour unit. The cows themselves are Aberdeen Angus or Hereford Cross, and there's some Albracks in it, all first class of the dairy herd. And as I said, all progeny is brought to finish. And I suppose on the farm then there's 2 major sheds on it. One is a 6-bay shed, which keeps all the weanings in, and the other shed in is an 8-bay shed where we keep the cows before calving and all like that. And the calving area is at the back of it.
That's great, Michael. How did calving go this year on the farm?
This year was a good year in fairness, except for the wetness. We had 91 cows to calve down this year, 67 cows and 23 heifers. That was the 91. As it stands at the moment, we have 86 cows calved with 85 live calves. The first little calf arrived on the 25th of January, and we have 4 cows left to calve. I suppose there was just 2 casualties on the farm. One little calf, he was not right when he was born, and one calf died at 3 weeks of age. But I suppose the big beauty of it this year that we have knows is 82% of the cows, or 82% of the herd, actually calved down by themselves this year with no assistance at all. So that was 82%, and all little calves born in moment are an average in around 38, 39 kilos. So our calving score this year is working up at 1.14. So it is a major plus on. Cows themselves, look, they were on pre-calving minerals before calving. I don't know if that made a big role in it. There was all cows calved down without any issues, no afterbirths being held. Plenty of milk, all the calves got up and sucked away. And overall, we had really had no major difficulties at all calving this year. Maybe it's got to do with the selection of sires that we put on the cows this year.
And the labour with regard to, very little needing assistance at calving, that has a huge impact. It
has to be one of the most major things. I don't know, maybe it's an onus in the cow type, especially if you're a part-time person, if you're at an office or a desk, like at that sort of rate, at 82% of the herd calving on its own. And I would at 82%, seven cows needed some assistance. That's just maybe where a little foot was down or anything like something very minor. So if you include them 7 cows into it, it would really have worked out with 90% of the herd calved down more or less on their own. But when it goes back to labour is one of the key things for calving cows, or make life easy for yourself. And I think it all goes back down to maybe your sire selection tools and having your cows in good condition. And saying that the Newford cow that we have here, she is a very homely type cow. It's a good quality of a cow, not too big and not too small, and yet able to manage to rear her calf and calves kept down without any hassle.
Looking at the winter gone past, how did cattle perform over the winter, particularly the weanlings and stores?
Quick update on the beef animals. I know they're gone at the moment, but just very briefly, the Newford heifers, the kilo at R equals 3 equals, and they went up the ramp at 624 kilos, and they were 20 and a half months of age, and they came into 2,500, or in other words, it was 770 what they came into. And when I compare that 770 compared to 4 years ago, we were only getting 450. So it just goes to show how quick times have changed. From 2021, it was 450, and 2025 was 770. And the bullocks themselves also were R equals 3 equals. They went up the ramp at 695 kilos at just under 22 months of age. So there's a fair weight of them Aberdeen Angus cows, which is the first cross of the dairy herd, and they come into 2,800, and they killed at €7.50 a kilo. And in 2021, once again, they just come into €4.51. So it just goes to show where times can change. This year on our weaning heifers and our little store bullocks or little weaning bullocks, we did try very well. We got an average of 0.6 of a kilo from them over the winter period. And them are actually gone to grass now on the bullocks went to grass on the 6th of March at 423 kilos. And an average date again from birth to the 6th of March to just doing over a kilo a day. And the heifers then, they also went to grass on the 3rd of March at 422 kilos. And they did an average date again from birth to the 3rd of March of 1.02 of a kilo per day. Now, them little heifers, they were housed roughly for 75 days. They went in the 17th of December and they went out the 3rd of March at 75 days, which is not pretty good for the winter period, take the weather that we had. And the bullocks themselves were housed for 91 days. So overall, I'm very happy with them.
That's great, Michael. How has grazing been going this spring so far? You mentioned the difficult weather conditions.
That has been the most challenging so far this year. Now, this year we turned the cows out on the 12th of February. Now, we didn't turn out many, we only turned out about 17 or 18 cows, and that's the most that we could keep out for about 3 weeks. We did have to bring one time there around maybe the 1st of March, we had to bring them in for a night or two. But for grazing conditions, all we could do was keep out small bunches and try and move them on every so often. If I went out in the morning and give them a small bit and maybe move them on again that night. And the same policy applied to the bullocks and heifers. But the only big thing now is save and graze. Here we are on almost the 1st of April. We have started the first round rotation that time from the 12th of February. So it makes a big difference now because taking today now, there's a bit of heat and there's 10 or 12 degrees there. Ground is dried up. Looking out the cows there across the window now, you can see grass beginning to move. So while it was raining and it was challenging, we managed to keep them out. But by keeping out small groups, we were able to keep the spring rotation going as such.
Great, Michael. And you mentioned there, breeding season is around the corner. Can you just talk through what's your selection criteria for sires this year on the farm? And I suppose you already touched on calving ease as well.
The criteria for this year, I suppose, we're getting revved up for the breeding season. There's just cows are going to be weighed. They've already got their lepto and they've got their Bluetooth vaccination, and they're going to get their booster one now in the next couple of days. For the criteria for the cows this year, for going to the bull, we're looking at the 5-star terminal index across breed, terminal index of €211 plus. And we were looking for a reliability of 65%, a terminal reliability of 65%, and a calving difficulty 5% or less. And I think that is the key thing. That is how we're able to manage nearly 82% of the cows calving them here on the farm. And putting them 5% reliability bulls on those cows to still have good carcass weight and to still produce good R grades, maybe even minus U grade animals, and a calving reliability of 85% plus. And we're aiming this year for all the AI straws to be €20 or less. And the same more or less criteria we're playing for the criteria for the heifers. There'll be 5-star terminal index across the breed, a terminal index of €126 plus, reliability of 64% for the terminal, and a calving difficulty of 7% or less, and a reliability of 75% plus, and once again €20 or less for the straws. So based on that, for the heifers this year, we're going for 2 limousine bulls. One is a Hotel and the other is Appertain Rooney. And we're also considering there's an Aubrac bull there, Lockmore, Turkmore Magnificent. They're the 3 bulls that will be put on the replacement heifers. And those replacement heifers, they will be synchronized now in the next couple of days. We'll do an 8-day synchronized program with them, with the AI and them on the 17th of April. I suppose I'm just hitting really quickly there. The top 3 bulls that will be going in the main herd will be Tom Choice, Orifam, Drumline S1185. We used that bull last year and producing lovely front calves, great sturdy legs under them, and a good rear end of them. And a Charlie bull called Ram Martin. They'll be the main 3 bulls that's going to be put on the main herd themselves. And like them 3 bulls of that sort of criteria, 5% less, the carcass on them bulls is ranging from 44 down to 37 kilos of a carcass weight, and a good confirmation of all them bulls are 2.2 to 2.9.
That's great, Michael. And looking at the heat detection aids, what do you use on the farm, or how do you go about detecting cows in heat and the whole process?
Yeah, going back to when you were talking about labour efficiency there, we might do overkill, but the fact that we're a demonstration farm, we do three things. We're recording all cows at the moment that are bulling, and within the last 12 days, there's every day I'm going out, there's two or three cows bulling. So which is probably one of the biggest traits there on the Newford cows. But we're recalling those who's bulling at the moment. We will be tail painting, and we have three teaser bulls. We bought them there the other day, and they're vasectomized, and we'll put moo collars on them. And them moo collars, they actually do exactly what it says in the tin. In fairness, with the collar on the bull, with the green tag the electronic tag that's in the cow's ear, the signal is picked up to her or from his collar to the cow's ear, is send the messages into our phone. And when we go in the next morning, if there's three cows bulling or three messages comes to my phone, that's what will be bulling out in the field. So it is a very good detector on picking up cows out in the field.
And you're only using once a day AI, Michael?
Yeah, once a day is AI, which makes it works the finest for here. We tell the AI man come here roughly around 12 o'clock each morning. So if a cow is bulling at 3 o'clock this evening, she will be bulled at around 12 o'clock the next day. And if that cow is still bulling that evening, the following evening around 9 or 10 o'clock, she'll be brought in again and she'll be AI'd for the second time in that 24 hours. But in all that, doing that work or doing that effort, out of the 90 cows last year, I think 15 cows just fell into that criteria where it had to be AI'd twice within the 24 hours. And I know people might be saying, geez, that's two straws, that's €40. But the way I look at it is, even if we got half of them that mightn't have been AI'd or mightn't have connected with the straw in that time in the first day, she will connect on the second day. So we are building up that 3 days or that extra 3 days there, or 3 weeks of a calf being born earlier than if we had missed them.
And there's a major suckler cow breeding open day taking place on the farm, Michael, on Wednesday, the 22nd of April. Can you talk through what farmers can expect to see on the day?
That's right, Catherine. On the 22nd of April at 4 p.m. here on the Newford farm, we're going to have a major breeding event here. There'll be an introduction stand followed by the genetics. Genetics, where we will look at the traits of the Newford cow and the traits of the bulls that we're putting on the cows. We're going to look at the weaning weights that was here that those cows are kind of producing. We're looking at the traits of the bull, easy calving, labour advantages of all of this will be also discussed in all those stands. And the key thing is when you're putting those genetics in place with this compact calving, the type of cow here is you have all those calves more or less calving down to one time, and hence in about 20 months' time you're selling those bullocks and heifers at more or less the same age. There'll be a reproduction stand where we'll be going through the body condition scoring of cows and calving down, looking at the cows and calves at 24 months of age, calving down 24 months of age, looking at an example of a typical heifer that's calved down, look at her calf, and then we'll look at last year's heifer to calf down, so hence she'll be on her second lactation, and look at her calf, see how well she has performed to give people an idea that, look, this 24-month calving down does actually work. We'll discuss also why we use AI on the farm, the advantages of using it, how we bring in the cows in for AI every morning. Everybody thinks maybe that if a cow bulling that you have to bring in the whole 100 cows to get that one cow. That's not what we do here. We just bring out a reel and one or two little white stakes, and we just coax the cow in, and after 3 or 4 or 5 minutes when the cow is near to the wire, she comes straight up into the handling unit. Then we're looking at the profit monitor of Newford Farm in 2025. And there'll be also a grassland stand as well, where we'll be looking at the herbage production here, looking at what Newford grew in 2025, how it compares with the national growth rate for the country, incorporating grass and clover, what we do, how we spray off, stitching it in, how much grass seed we use. We look at the soil fertility and how important soil fertility is, no more than P and K as well. And the grassland production, the other side of the grassland production is we'll be looking at having good grass, what it means if you're having the good grass, how much of a weight gains are we getting in our yearlings, males, and our yearling females, and how did the beef bullocks thrive in grass, and how do we manage to keep good quality grass in front of them every time to try and achieve those average daily weight gains per day. And I suppose one of the last stands will be a farmyard infrastructure stand. We have a new handling unit built here up in the farm at the moment, and we're going to go through that the advantages and the pluses of having the new handling unit. We've also wet ponds as well, where where runoff water comes off from the yard, from underwater to the grey waters, and how we're actually handling it and keeping, I suppose, the environmental runoffs into the drains all kept clean. So that event is taking place on the 22nd of April from 4 to 6. It is a golden opportunity for anybody to come and see the type of a cow that we have, that we're producing those sort of bullocks and heifers. Gone off Newford heifers could be gone at 20 months, 20 and a half months. The bullocks are gone at just at 21 months. A large portion of our animals are R equals to R plus, and a portion of them are U minuses. We have very little difficulty of calving down, which is replica, as we can see this year, and it's all going back to the genetics of picking good types of quality bulls, good types of quality replacement heifers. So we have little to no hassle when calving comes, and all that will be discussed on the 4 or 5 stands. So it's a great opportunity just before the breeding season starts to show people what we are doing here, that they can bring home to their own farm. Even going back to the tail painting, to the chin and ball harness on the teasers, to the moo call, just give people an idea that those tools are out there, and how we're trying to make suckler as labour efficiency as possible, because labour is such a big thing. To try and get help, or no one is getting anything younger now. So it's the more plus tools that you have on a farm, it makes life easy for one another.
It sounds like a great event, Michael. There'll also be a number of industry information stands in the yard for people to meet with the industry stakeholders, and I'll include the further details in the podcast text.
Thank you.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Michael for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.